Welcome to 10 Minutes Book Hub. I'm so excited to have you here today, where we break down life-changing books in just 10 minutes. Today, we're diving into Greg McKeown's Essentialism, the disciplined pursuit of less. Now, I don't know about you, but I used to feel like I was constantly juggling a million things. My to-do lists were never ending, and I was always chasing that next task. It seemed like I was doing more and more, but never really getting anywhere. Have you ever felt that way? Well, that's where essentialism comes in. McKeown introduces us to the idea that doing less could actually lead to more success. In this book, he challenges us to focus on the vital few and eliminate the trivial many. Imagine if we could simplify our lives, remove the distractions, and really focus on what matters most. That's what I'm going to share with you today. Lesson 1, the essentialist mindset. Let's kick things off with the first lesson from Essentialism, the essentialist mindset. McKeown explains that the problem we often face is not that we're doing too little, but that we're doing too much, too many things that don't even matter. He argues that essentialism isn't about getting more done in less time. It's about doing the right things. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you said yes to things just because you felt obligated or afraid of missing out? Here's what McKeown recommends. Choose. We all have the power to decide where we spend our time and energy. You get to decide what matters. Discern, not everything is important. In fact, most things aren't. So focus on what truly brings value to your life. Trade-off, accept that you can't do everything. Prioritize only the tasks that make a real difference. When I first started applying this, I was amazed at how many tasks I could eliminate. I realized that by saying no to the non-essentials, I was saying yes to what truly mattered to me, my health, my family, and my purpose. Key takeaway, prioritize what matters. Stop saying yes to everything and start saying yes only to what truly aligns with your values. Action item. This week, look at the commitments you've made and ask yourself, what can I eliminate? Start small. Maybe there's a meeting or a task that you can say no to this week. Listen to, explore, discern the trivial many from the vital few. Now, once we understand the mindset, it's time to explore what really matters in our lives. McKeown talks about the importance of taking time to explore, to reflect and discern between the trivial many and the vital few. We live in a world of constant distractions, and sometimes we just need to take a step back and think about where we're going. It's about creating space in our lives to think, observe, and reflect. This is where real clarity comes in. Here's how you can start exploring. Escape. Set time aside to be unavailable, away from emails, meetings, and distractions. This will help you think clearly. Look, pay attention to patterns. What tasks or habits align with your true goals? Play. Engage in creative activities that allow you to solve problems and think outside the box. Sleep. Rest is often overlooked, but it's one of the most important ways to protect your creativity and energy. Select. Once you've reflected, apply strict criteria to decide which opportunities are truly essential. For me, the step was hard at first because I was so used to being on all the time. But when I started carving out quiet time to reflect, I began to see what was truly important. It wasn't always easy, but it was so worth it. Key takeaway. Take time to reflect on what truly matters in your life. Action item. Carve out 30 minutes this week to reflect on your current commitments. Write down what feels essential and what doesn't. Be honest with yourself. Lesson 3. Eliminate, cut out the trivial many. Once you figured out what matters most, it's time to eliminate everything that doesn't. This is where the magic happens, cutting out the distractions that drain our energy and focus. McKeown talks about the importance of uncommitting learning to say no to things that aren't aligned with your values. It's not always easy, but it's necessary. He encourages us to clarify, define your purpose. Know what you're working toward so you can make intentional choices. Dare. Be brave enough to say no gracefully when something doesn't serve your goals. Uncomment. Recognize when to let go of commitments that no longer serve you. Edit. Regularly review your activities and remove what doesn't align with your purpose. Limit. Set clear boundaries to protect your time. I remember a time when I was juggling way too many things. I had a hard time saying no because I didn't want to disappoint anyone. But once I started practicing essentialism, I realized that by eliminating distractions, I was freeing up time for what truly mattered. Key takeaway: eliminate distractions and focus only on what serves your goals. Action item: this week, practice saying no to at least one thing that doesn't align with your goals. It could be a social event, a meeting, or an additional work task. It's okay to let go. Lesson 4. Execute. Make execution effortless. Now that you've chosen what matters and eliminated the rest, it's time to execute, making the process as effortless as possible. McKeown says that the key to execution is simplifying it. When you focus on only the essential tasks, everything else becomes much easier to execute. Here's how to make execution effortless. Remove obstacles. Identify anything that stands in the way of your goals and get rid of it. Create routines. Build habits that support your essential tasks. Practice. Regularly engage in deliberate practice to improve your skills. For me, creating routines was a game changer. It's about creating a system that supports you. Action item: this week, establish a simple routine that supports your most essential task. Stick to it every day to build momentum. Personal story: from overwhelm to clarity. I had multiple projects, constant emails, and endless meetings. By applying McKeown's principles, I started focusing on fewer things, but things that really mattered. It wasn't easy, but once I made the shift, I began to feel more in control and more fulfilled. Action item: think about an area of your life that feels overwhelming. What can you eliminate to make it more manageable? Start small. Conclusion: the power of essentialism. When you do this, you don't just do more. You do what matters most, and you do it better. Key takeaway: focus on what matters most. Eliminate distractions, prioritize, and execute with clarity. What can you do less of so you can focus on the essential? If you enjoyed this summary of essentialism, don't forget to hit the like button. I'd love to hear how you plan to apply the essentialist mindset to your life.